Parents of Reddit, what is the weirdest thing you caught your children doing? When my son was about 4, he was playing in his playroom. I was on the couch and heard some sounds behind me. It was just us. So I turn and see my son looking up at the light fixtures and whispering. I ask what he's doing. His response, I'm asking all the light bulbs in the house to not fall and kill you. Thanks, son. He's truly got my back. I would watch my back round that kid. He's just looking out for you. I'm not a parent, but my niece was very upset that her older sister wouldn't turn the TV over when I was babysitting once. After about 10 minutes she pretended to be interested in the washing machine that was on at the time and sat in front of it and watched it like a TV. For an hour and 20 minutes. Her older sister watched the rest of her film but obviously wasn't enjoying it. She was outraged that her little sister was having a great time watching wet clothes spin round and round. It's the most creative act of revenge I've ever seen. My nephew is 3 years older than my daughter. She followed him everywhere. When he was about 4, nearly 5, he sat in front of the unlit wood stove to watch it. She copied him and he got up smiling and went to the table. She sat there still looking at the wood stove. He used the trick a few more times. I like the spin in the story. Well hung. My mom caught me bringing eggs from the kitchen into my room and sitting on them in a blanket nest, hoping they'd hatch. What she didn't catch was that I had been doing this for a while and would put the eggs back into the fridge when they wouldn't hatch after a few days. I did this too. I also used to put them in socks and leave them under my bed for a while because I thought that would hatch them. I would check on them every day for progress, and when nothing happened, back to the fridge they went. I did that, but I found an actual bird's egg. Well, not a chicken egg anyway. I took it upon myself to be its mother and sat on it gingerly for like a week. Wrapped it in tissue and put it to bed even. My dad was annoyed I even brought it home. He was afraid it would bust open and be the stink from hell, so he made me get rid of it. He explained to me it would never hatch, because it needed its mommy. Once my mom gave me a, non-broken, robin's egg that had fallen from a tree in a storm. I kept it in a little velvet box and was very careful with it. My friend came over and I let her touch it and she accidentally exploded it. It was one of the worst smells I have ever experienced and we were both covered in dead rotting bird fetus. Found my kid talking to the hole in the sink when he was 2. Turns out that's where he said God lives. Carry on, ya weirdo. X's eldest hoarded cardboard tubes. If asked, they were simply for later. The youngest adopted and formed a strong emotional bond with a garlic for about a week. Did you hear a voice responding back from the sink with "Hi Georgie"? Beep beep, Richie, nope, your cell phone out of here. I'm reading IT currently and man. Creepy but very good. We caught my sons, maybe 6 and 3 at the time, both sitting on the toilet together, one behind the other, pooping. They told us it was a double poop. We forbid them from ever doing that again. Edit to add, for those of you who think we are terrible parents because we stopped our children from doing double poops, please know they seem to be well adjusted and appear to have no permanent damage from this incident. We have provided them with ample outlets for their creativity that do not involve poop. Is it weird that my brother and I also did that when we were young? Multiple times. Not for fun, but if one of us needed to go really badly and the other was using the toilet. Why did I go into detail? Help. Edit, for those who were wondering, my parents had a bathroom off their bedroom, my brother and I had one, and there was one on the ground floor. At night, we would be too scared to go back down in the dark, so we would be limited to one toilet. My 2 little sisters, 8 and 5 at the time, now 32 and 29 respectively, would poop together, backs and butts against each other, each on one side of the toilet. I don't think anyone tried to stop them because they just wanted to do everything together back then. When my daughter was little, old ladies would come over and enthusiastically ask her simple questions. Like, what's your name? And she would always reply in flat monotone, birthday cake. Then they'd ask another question like, oh, well, how old are you? And she'd say birthday cake. They would look over at us with great concern. So annoying. I went through a phase where if the house phone rang I would race to it, answer it and shout, hello, this is Lollipop. Then I started to tell anyone on the street or in a store that my name was Lollipop. My mom got so tired of explaining to strangers that no, my birth name was not actually Lollipop. Is there a reason or just because you could? It was all good till the Lollipop Guild sent her a cease and desist. You don't want to mess with those fuckers. They're chunky and have a low center of gravity so you cannot knock them over. Also, their union is very powerful. I woke up to my 5-year-old spraying Windex on the window beside my bed, cleaning it thoroughly, then nodding at me and moving on to cleaning the windows in the next room. I still don't know what the hell was happening. Edit. She told me before bed that it needed cleaned so her cat could look out. The bottom of the windows gets smeared because the cats push their faces against it. So she wanted it clean for them. He was cleaning the windows, obviously, better than licking them. My 5-year-old nephew went to feed the chickens yesterday. I told him to get a hat. He came back fully naked with gumboots and a straw hat on. Apparently the last time he went to the chicken house they pecked at his junk, and he wants to show them that it's not big enough to eat yet. Kids are weird. If chickens pecked at my junk, I'd put many more layers on it instead of exposing it. It's all about asserting dominance. Roosters are actually really self-conscious about not having dicks. Not my child, but I've caught my sister doing multiple strange things as a child. The two most notable were, I once caught her playing with a bag with yellowish liquid inside when she was 10. She had pulled this bag from the side of her backpack. I asked her what it was her own pee. She had been keeping it in there for days, and once in a while she'd pull it out, go play with. I was horrified. When she was 8, she cut off her doll's hair, dismembered it and gave it a funeral which she made all of us attend. She went to dig it up several days later, but it wasn't there. She's done many other things, but those were the two weirdest things she did. Jesus Christ, is your sister a serial killer? She's 23 now and hasn't killed anyone yet, haha, to my knowledge at least. So, she's a very successful serial killer. When my brother-in-law was 3, he was so obsessed with the toilet plunger they had to buy him his own so he'd stop grabbing the used one. It was his best friend. Once my cousin took her preschooler to our version of the dollar store and let her pick something for everyone in the family for a Christmas present. She bought my uncle/her grandfather a plunger. He spent most of that Christmas with it stuck to his bald head. He's a good sort. I really like the idea of a kid picking out presents for relatives from a dollar store. Gets them as invested in the gift-giving part of the holiday as they are in the gift-getting, and makes for some funny gifts. My husband has younger siblings, 10+ years younger, and my in-laws do this. We got a giant pencil, a comically small notepad, 2 stuffed elves and a Let It Snow sign from the Dollar Tree. They are my most prized gifts now. Packing peas from our garden up her nose. This required a trip to the local hospital emergency room, where the doctor, a dad of several young children himself, thought it was hilariously funny. Soon my wife and I were laughing as well. When my little brother was 3, he's 25 now, he stuck an M&M up his nose. The doctor said to just let it melt. The babysitter was quite concerned when red and then brown started dripping out of his nose. For a while, our family joked that M&Ms melt in your nose, not in your hand. The M&M slogan at the time was they melt in your mouth, not in your hand. My little brother did the same thing. We had no idea until all of a sudden he had blue snot all the time and my mom had to take him to the doctor because he couldn't speak yet to tell her what happened. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have a similar story, share it in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Have a great day, or night.